My Dandavat pranams to everybody. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So I'm live streaming from Bangalore in southern India, or halfway down. And we've got the nectar topic of Raya Ramananda Samvada, which covers such a wide spectrum of profound truths. And so we'll have a kirtan first. Without some kirtan, how can we have the authority to speak anything? So some kirtan should always be there. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Aradhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dishatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Gaura Prasthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Keshaviti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Gaura Hare Bol, Nitai Gaura Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol. Oh Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri. Oh Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda. Oh Jaya Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura. Oh Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Ganhabhika Giridhari Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai Varishabhanu Nandini Vajeshwari Radharani Ki Jai Nityananda Rai Ki Jai Satchinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astautar Sarashishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astautar Sarashishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astautar Sarashishimad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astautar Sarashishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Mahabhagavat Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Jai Vaishnav Sabhaboma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Baladevi Dibhushan Gaudi Bharantaracharya Ki Jai Jai Rasik Siromani Srila Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Treya Ki Jai Jai Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Paradasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Gauda Premanandi Hari Hari Bol Om Aginati Mirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gauda Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kathamayam Tadati Shwapadantikam Priya Surupe, Taita Surupe, Prema Surupe, Sahajabi Rupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhueka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swabila Surupe, Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunavartino Kalo, Samarpaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam, Hari Purata Sundara Tutikatamba Sadipita, Sadahridare Kandare Spuratu Vasachinandanaha. Yam pravajantamanapetya krityam dvaipaino viraha katara ajuhava putreti tam mayatayo tarabo benedustam sarvabhutam hridem munimanatoshmi bhaktiya vihina aparada lakshay shiptascha karmadi tarangamadye kripa mayitvam sharanam prapana prinde namaste charanaravindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Bharadram Tato Mamanasti Katina Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina iti vignaya radhe tvam naimam charyantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishna Om Asto Tarzara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again to our most beloved Nitya Lila Pravishna Om Asto Tarzara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And we're offering our Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, whose mercy we are receiving. And to all our Rupanuga Guru Varga and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnave Namo Namaha. So coming to our subject matter, for the last 3 days we've discussed Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj's Mangalacharyan, and my Gurudev has unpacked each word, gone through each part of it, and such profound nectar was actually extracted from there. On Saturday we even went into the Srimad Bhagavatam and these 4 essential truths, the Gyan, Vigyan, the Jiva and Pradhan. We discussed that to some degree. So all of these powerful connections is what we're making. Why? To give us the confidence of the authority that we're hearing from. If we have, especially today in 2025, I didn't say that, I don't think. Today's Monday the 6th, 2025, January. Where so many things are distorted and the demons are trying to manipulate. They have been manipulating for so long in all kinds of different ways, but now they're turning up the burners, so to speak. So this is the age of the demons. We should expect it. But the devotee, he just sees them as these games that they play, magical, mystical games, as insignificant in comparison to the supreme reality, which is so profound. So we need this authority to reassure us of this, this sound vibration from these higher personalities, from Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, from our Guru Varga, from my Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. So we need to have that authority reconfirmed. So we chant their glories, we chant the Mangalacharyan, we chant the Guru Varga, the prayers, etc., reassuring us, giving us this comfort of our higher connection than this Mayic reality or Mayic distorted, illusory reality where we're often caught up in. So now we come to page 9 of this Ramananda Raya Samvada book. And we're going to go through all of this section carefully, and because we don't want to miss anything, we don't want to miss a drop. And if we take it all in over the next couple of 3 months, then we'll have it for life. We'll have this foundation for life, just like with Jayavadama. We went through very carefully every single page of Jayavadama, 40 chapters. So we've got it there. It's fixed for us to as our foundation for our lives. So the title is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets Ramananda Rai.
Yes. 8.2 Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
This verse is always the invocation verse, practically at the beginning of so many of the chapters throughout the Chaitanya Charitamrita. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Dev, all glories to Nityananda, all glories to Advaita, all glories to the devotees of Sri Gauranga.
8.3 Purvarite Prabhu Age Gamana Karila Jiyada Narsimha Kshetre kata dine gela.
Sriman Mahaprabhu continued his tour, and everywhere as previously, he converted the people into Vaishnavas and submerged them in the ocean of Prema Bhakti Ras. After a few days, he came to the holy place known as Jiyad Nishringa. So we've already described in the prelude how Mahaprabhu has left Navadvip, taken the renounced order, gone to Shantipur, then traveled through to Puri Dham, and how he's begun his pastimes in Puri Dham, converting the Mayavad Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and now he's left for his South Indian tour. So this is where we're picking up the pastime. So at this Jiyad Nishringa is the place where he came to first of all. Now it's got a reference here about Jiyad Nishringa Ketra. So some of these commentaries, these purports, are interspersed with the purports from Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's purports in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. But these ones of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada are often from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So we're getting quite a few inputs into these purports. Also, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his Amrita Prabha, he's adding additions and so on. It's usually Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati who's giving us the directions where all these places were. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati traveled extensively in India, and he went to all these different holy places. So he's encouraging the devotees also to pay their homage to these holy places and giving the directions, which train station, etc., we have to come to. So 5 miles from Visakhapatnam is a place called Simachal, where there is now a railway station. There, upon a mountain, is a temple of Lord Nrsingadev. This temple in Visakhapatnam is the most famous and affluent above all others. The excellence of its architecture captures the minds of all. There is one engraved stone plaque commemorating that the devotionally minded wife of King Tritiya Gomkara decorated the deity with gold leaf. There was much more opulence in India at that time before the British ransacked it. The servants of Sri Nrsingadev resided there, along with the local people. On top of the mountain, adjoining the temple, are many houses for the visiting pilgrims. The outer section of the main temple houses the Sri Vijay Vigraha, the smaller deity who is taken out on street processions during festivals, while the inner sanctum of the temple accommodates the original deity of Bhagavan Sri Nrsingadev. Devotees of Sri Ramanuja's Vaishnava Sampradaya perform the worship of Sri Nrsingadev under the patronage of the king of Vijay Naga. Some people also say that the deity of Bhagavan, Sri Nrsingadev, once gave his special mercy to a devotee named Jiyad, and for this reason, the deity took the name Jiyad Nrsinga. Thus the place came to be known as Jiyad Nrsinga Ketra. So, 8-4.
Nrsimha dekhiya kaila dandavat pranati premaveshe kaila bahu nritya gita stuti.
Taking darshan of Bhagavan Sri Nrsingadev, Sriman Mahaprabhu fully prostrated himself before the deity. Then, absorbed in prem, he sang and danced, and afterwards offered many types of prayers and glorifications of the Lord. So now there's an interesting point that my Gurudev brings up here. Here, some people may consider that because Sri Gaurasundar is Brajendranandan Shri Krishna, endowed with the mood and complexion of Srimati Radhika, Radha Bhav Dudi Suvalitam, Sri Krishna Swarup, surely he will hold only the ecstatic mood of Srimati Radhika, tasting exclusive prem for Sri Krishna in Braj. That is the mood of Radhika, tasting the bliss of Krishna in Braj. Why then does he become absorbed in prem by having the darshan of Sri Nrsingadev, who is in the mood of awe and majesty? So this is a beautiful point. Our Goswamis provide the answer. They state that Sri Krishna is the quintessence of all the incarnations of Bhagavan, the Supreme Person. He is the personification of all transcendental mellows, Akila Rasamrita Murti, the shelter of unlimited varieties of rasa, and the personification of wonderful, extraordinary transcendental sentiments. Only by tasting each of the unique varieties of rasa does the taste of Sri Krishna's sweetness reach its fullest. This is the answer. Sri Nrsimhadev is also a form of Bhagavan. Thus, there is a particular variety of ras, or flavor, in him. All the avatars, they all have their particular rasas. But we see, like the moon has 16 different stages. They're all Brajendranandan Shyam Sundar, but they're all demonstrating different flavors, different rasas. Like Ram is Purushottam Maryad. Varahadev, he represents Vibhats. In Gita Govinda, Jaydev Goswami, in the very beginning, he goes through all the Dashavatars and he describes the rasas of each of those personalities. So Nrsimhadev is described as Vatsalya Ras, that mood because of his affection for Sri Prahlad. Thus, there is a particular variety of rasa or flavor in him. Therefore, on the day when Sriman Mahaprabhu had darshan of Sri Nrsimhadev, his heart developed a desire to taste that special flavor. Why not? Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and he wanted to taste the special flavor of himself through the personality that was there in the deity form of Nrsimhadev. Upon that desire being completely satisfied, he became absorbed in prema and began to dance and perform kirtan. There's one commentator in the Shastra, he describes how one Brahman in Navadvip, he writes that he was one day experiencing this beautiful fragrance that was seeming to become every time just before 7 o'clock, he would experience this intoxicating spiritual fragrance, and he was wondering what it was. He was in Mayapur Dham, and he was wondering what this fragrance was, and he was hearing daily, smelling daily this fragrance, and then it was revealed to him in a vision, in like a dream, that Nrsimhadev from Nrsimhapali was rushing to the Gora Arti, and as he came past, his fragrance touched this Brahman. So he writes like that. So there are so many beautiful points about the Nrsimhadev in Goradam also, because in the beginning of Jaivadama, we have the pastime where Pradumna, the guru of Premdas Babaji, visits, and he's described, he's reading Prema Vivart, a most esoteric, beautiful compilation, and a very deep, profound compilation of Rasa Tattva. And his place is in Nrsimhapali. So I asked my Gurudev, why would he stay in a place like Nrsimhapali? Why would this elevated Vaishnava deep in Ras stay in Nrsimhapali? My Gurudev said, because Nrsimhadev, just like other personalities, will take away any scent of an obstacle in the devotee's bhajan. If the devotee is experiencing any impediment or obstacle, then Lord Nrsimhadev, he is happy to perform that seva and remove that obstacle if the devotee is calling out for him. So those are just a couple of examples about Nrsimhadev. So now we have the next.
8.5 Sri Narsimha, Jai Narsimha, Jai Jai Narsimha, Prahladisha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma, Bringa.
All glories to Bhagavan Sri Nrsimhadev. All glories to the Lord of Sri Prahlad. All glories to you, who are like a bumblebee, always hovering about the lotus face of Sri Lakshmi Devi. All glories to you. Very beautiful. Sridhar Swami has composed the following two verses in his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 111 and 1087.1 as a means of offering his obeisances to Lord Nrsingadev.
Prahlada Hridyaladam Bhakta Vidya Vidaranam Sharadindu Ruchim Vande Parinda Vadanam Harim Vagisha Yasya Vadane Lakshmiryasya Cha Vakshasi Yashyaste Hridaya Samvid Tam Narasimham Bhaje.
I offer my prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, who always gives happiness to the heart of his devotee Sri Prahlad, who always dispels the ignorance of his devotees, and who is endowed with a complexion as effulgent as the autumnal full moon. I offer my prayers to that Bhagavan Sri Nrsinga, upon whose tongue Saraswati, the goddess of speech, eternally stays, upon whose chest Lakshmi always resides, and in whose heart dwells the transcendental potency of spiritual consciousness. So how can we ever disregard the beauty and speciality and potent? Actually, our Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, he really instilled in the Western world the devotees taking shelter of Lord Nrsingadev every day in our Mangal Arti prayers. We always include the prayers of Lord Nrsingadev because the Western world is loaded with demons. While describing the speciality of the mercy of Sri Bhagavan, Sriman Mahaprabhu glorifies Sri Nrsingadev through the following verse, personally composed by Sridhar Swami in his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 791.
8.6 Ugropi anugra evayam swabhaktanam nrkesari keshariva swapotanam anyesham ugra vikramaha.
Just as a lion is exceedingly cruel, powerful, and a cause of great fear for others, yet is very affectionate and merciful to his own cubs, Bhagavan Sri Nrsingadev is exceedingly ferocious towards demons like Hiranyakashipu, yet he's always full of affection for Prahlad and his devotees.
8.7 Emata nana shloka padi stuti kaila narasimha sevak mala prasada anidila.
In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited many different verses in glorification of Bhagavan Sri Nrsinga. Seeing Sriman Mahaprabhu's devotional sentiments, Lord Nrsingadev's servant then brought garlands and the remnants of the Lord's food and offered them to him.
8.8 Purvavat kona vipre kaila nimantarana sheratri taharahi karila gamana.
As happened before, a Brahmana came with an invitation for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord passed the night there, and early the next morning, he again commenced his tour.
8.9 Prabhate utiya prabhu chalila prema veshe digvidrig nahi jnana ratri divase.
The next morning, Sriman Mahaprabhu rose and being absorbed in prem, started out again on his tour. Owing to his great ecstasy, he had no knowledge of the proper direction or whether it was day or night.
8.10 Purvavat Vaishnava Kari Sarva Lokagane Godavari Tire Prabhu Aila Katadine.
As before, Sri Chaitanya Dev converted all the jivas there to Vaishnavism, and after some days the Lord reached the banks of the Godavari. So imagine Mahaprabhu, such a tall, incredibly beautiful, effulgent figure, walking with his arms raised, chanting the Mahamantra, chanting Hari Haraya Nama Krishna, etc., and just spellbinding all the residents as he walked through. And they all became Vaishnavas by worshipping this golden effulgent form of the Lord.
8.11 Godavari deki haila yamuna smaran Tiravana Deki Smriti Haila Vrindavan.
As soon as Sriman Mahaprabhu caught sight of the river Godavari, he remembered the river Sri Jamuna, a vision of which manifested in his heart. Thus absorbed, when he saw the forest on the bank of the Godavari, Sri Vrindavan appeared upon the screen of his heart. He understood the Godavari to be the Jamuna, and the forest there to be Vrindavan. So there's a beautiful purport here. The symptom of a Mahabhagavat, the devotee of the highest platform of devotional service, is that wherever he goes and whatever he sees becomes udipan, stimulants or causes of remembrance of his worshipable Lord and all that is related to him. Seeing the purifying holy water of the Godavari caused within Srimad Mahaprabhu's mind, an awakening of the water-associated pastimes of Braj. He remembered especially the emperor of all Braj's pastimes, the Ras Leela, because it occurred in Sridham Vrindavan, on the banks of the river Jamuna. Therefore, he became immersed in the fathomless ocean of Braj's sweetness. Very beautiful.
8.12 Sevane Katakshana Kari Nritya Gana Godavari Parahana Taha Kailasnana.
Mahaprabhu remained for some time in that sanctified forest, singing and dancing. Afterwards, the Lord crossed the river and took his bath on the other bank.
8.13 Ghatachadi Kata Dure Jala Sannidhane Vashi Prabhu Kare Krishna Nama Sankirtane.
After bathing in the river, Sri Chaitanya Dev left the bathing place and walked a little distance from there. Sitting near the water, he engaged in chanting the holy name of Krishna. Here some may inquire as to why Mahaprabhu did not remain seated at that holy bathing place to perform Nam Sankirtan. Why did he move a little distance away from the same shore? Our Goswamis have explained that the continuous traffic of persons bathing at the Ghat or bathing place could have presented an obstacle to his tasting the nectar of chanting the holy name. Therefore, Mahaprabhu chose a place that was more suitable for kirtan.
8.14 Hena Kale Dolaya Chadi Ramananda Rai Snana Karibare Aila Bhajana Bajai.
At that time, Sri Ramananda Rai, sitting in a special palanquin fit for a king, arrived there to take his bath. Accompanying him were musicians playing on their instruments. Why were they playing music? Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur explains that it was customary at the time to have musicians preceding any famous royal officer on his journeys. Thus, Sri Ramananda Rai, seated in a palanquin and accompanied by instrumental music, was offered the appropriate royal respect as he traveled towards the bathing place where Mahaprabhu sat. And we can appreciate now this culture of Bharatvash, the culture of India, where today even practically most of the people honor the government or honor any government official, any government worker. It's quite contrasting to the Western world where the authorities have become, people don't believe in them anymore. But in India, it's not like that. It's because they have such a history of dharmic personalities ruling the country, like Yudhisthira Maharaj, these Raja Rishis, and the sages prior to that. So all the way through, they've had this deep respect for the authority, for the government, so to speak. So we see this witnessed in the honoring of Raya Ramananda.
8.15 Tar Sange Bahuaila Vaidika Brahmana Vidhi Mate Kailate Ho Snana Di Tarpana.
Many Vedic Brahmanas were accompanying Sri Ramananda Rai, who took his bath according to the Vedic rituals and offered oblations. In this Bengali verse, the word vidimata, meaning according to the Vedic system, does not indicate the smarta method of ritualistic worship, which is based simply on an external understanding of the system of Varnashram Dham. Rather, it is understood that Sri Ramananda Rai performed his bathing and offering of oblations to his ancestors according to the Vaishnava methods prescribed in literatures such as Sri Hari Bhakti Vilas. Some so-called intelligent and learned persons say that Sri Ramananda Rai was personally well versed in the Vedas, and that although he was a pure devotee, he still followed Varnashram Dham with complete faith. Indeed, he himself was the foundation of the Varnashram system. Therefore, he performed the activities of taking bath and offering oblations to his forefathers according to the injunctions of the scripture. Yet the great and learned spiritual master, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, has refuted this by saying that Sri Ramananda Rai was a Shuddha Bhakta, and that there was no need at all for such a pure devotee to follow the rules of Varnashram Dham. The term Shuddha Bhakta actually means that such a person has abandoned Varnashram Dham and follows only devotional service to Sri Krishna Bhakti. It is for this reason that Sri Ramananda Rai is said to be the topmost of all devotees. From this, it is clearly evident that Sri Ramananda Rai was not at all a follower of Varnashram Dham. So that's a very interesting comment that my Gurudev makes and brings in the remarks of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. To not think that Ramananda Rai was some type of smarta, that he was falling into the Varnashram, but he was actually honoring devotion to Krishna Bhakti. So this is clarifying the nature and personality of Ramananda Rai.
8.16 Prabhu tare deki janila e Ram Rai tahare milite Prabhur mana uti dhaya.
When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Sri Ramananda Rai, he knew immediately who he was, and a great eagerness to meet him awoke within the Lord's mind.
8.17 Tatapi dhairyadari Prabhu rahila vashiya Ramananda aila apurva sannyasi dekiya.
Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very eager to meet him, he remained sitting patiently, because Mahaprabhu could recognize this is the governor of this state where I have come, this Andhra Pradesh, we call it today. So he was understanding that this is the governor, and this was the person that he'd come to meet. At the same time, through his omnisciency, he could appreciate that this is none other than the Saki Vishaka. All these things would have been there in the consciousness of Mahaprabhu, so he could recognize him immediately. Sri Ramananda Rai, a little distance away from the bathing ghat, saw the astonishing and wonderfully beautiful sannyasi and came near. So Ramananda Rai is also such a pure consciousness, such a pure caliber. So he also can recognize immediately the extraordinary, astonishing personality of Mahaprabhu.
8.18 Surya Shata Samakanti Aruna Vasana Suvalita Prakanda Deha Kamala Lochana.
The bodily effulgence of that sannyasi was as brilliant as unlimited suns. A saffron garment was covering the Lord, who was large in body and very strongly built, and whose eyes were like lotuses stretching to his ears. It should be known that even though his bodily effulgence was more brilliant than millions of suns, he did not give any pain to the eyes. Rather, it bestowed great ecstasy.
8.19 Dekiya tahara mane haila chamatkara Ashiya karila dandavat namaskara.
The sight of the astonishing sannyasi struck the heart of Sri Ramananda Rai with wonder. He approached him and respectfully prostrated himself, falling flat like a stick before him. Sri Ramananda Rai was astonished to see the extraordinary beauty of the Lord and his great otherworldly effulgence. Because he was a pure devotee, he fell flat like a stick at the divine feet of the Lord.
8.20 उति प्रभु कहे उटा कहा कृष्ण कृष्ण तारे आलिंगिते प्रभुर हृदय सतृष्णा.
Sriman Mahaprabhu, seeing him offering obeisances, stood up and said, please get up, chant Krishna, Krishna. Indeed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very eager to embrace him.
8.21 तथापि पूछिला तुम्ही राय रामानंदा तेहो कहे हना मुई दास शूद्र मंडा.
Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood who he was, still he inquired, are you Ramananda Rai Ramananda? To this he replied with great humility, yes, this unfortunate Shudra is your servant.
8.22 तबे तारे कैला प्रभु दृढ़ आलिंगना प्रेमा वेशे प्रभु भृत्या दोहे अचेतना.
Hearing this, Sriman Mahaprabhu then embraced Sri Ramananda Rai very firmly. Indeed, both the master and servant, absorbed in ecstatic love, lost consciousness.
8.23 स्वाभाविका प्रेम दोहार उदय करिला दुहा के आलिंग्या दुहे भूमि ते पडिला.
Natural love for each other awakened in both their hearts, and in their embrace they fell down to the ground, unconscious. Sri Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Amrita Prava Bhasya, it is stated that the praying between them was natural. Actually, Sri Ramananda Rai is Vishaka Sakhi in Sri Krishna's pastimes. Therefore, as Sriman Mahaprabhu, as the combined form of Sri Radha and Sri Krishna, the natural love of the divine couple for Vishaka Sakhi and the love of Vishaka Sakhi for them manifested immediately upon their seeing each other. How beautiful. Perfect, naturally occurring prem is not achievable by spiritual practice, sadhana. The relationship between the devotee and Bhagavan is something like this. When the devotee sees his worshipful Lord, unlimited towering waves of prem arise within his heart. And when Bhagavan sees his devotee, then his Bhakta Vatsal, or fathomless ocean of affection for the devotee, churns within his heart. Thus both of them become bewildered. So this was the commentary of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
8.24 स्तंभ स्वेदा श्रुकंप पुलक वैवर्ण्य दुहारा मुखेते शुनि गदगद कृष्ण वर्णा.
When they embraced each other, the 8 ecstatic transformations, such as becoming stunned, perspiration, tears, shivering, paleness, and horripilation, appeared on their bodies. Their voices became choked, and both began to chant, Krishna, Krishna. So these are Anubhavs and Sattvika-bhavs appearing immediately on their body, confirming with us today who are studying the aspects of Rasa Tattva, the ecstasy, the depth of the ecstasy that they both experienced. They both tried to conceal their natural, eternally perfect love for each other, but they could not. Both became helpless due to the towering waves of prem, and their throats became choked.
8.25 देखिया ब्राह्मण गणेरा हैला चमत्कार वैदिक ब्राह्मण सभा करे न विचार.
When the ritualistic Vedic Brahmanas who accompanied Sri Ramananda Rai saw this astonishing meeting, they were wonderstruck. They reflected within their minds.
8.26 एता सन्यासीर तेज देखी ब्राह्मण समा ब्रह्म समा शूद्रे आलिंगिया केने करे न क्रंदना. ये महाराजा महापंडित गंभीरा सन्यासीर स्पर्शे मत हैला अस्थिरा.
The effulgence of this sannyasi is like the Brahman itself. But despite this, he is crying upon embracing this Sudra, Sri Ramananda Rai. Why is this? The Vedic Brahmins considered Sri Ramananda Rai to be a supremely learned personality, naturally very grave. So why did he become so excited, like a mad person, on touching this sannyasi? So by reading this carefully, by absorbing the direct description that's given by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj, supported by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, supported by my Gurudev, supported by all the acharyas, Vishnacharya, we're getting a deep insight into the pastime that's unfolding. The Vedic Brahmanas were considering Sri Ramananda Rai to be a Shudra, a member of the lower social class. The scriptures forbid sannyasis to touch members of the Sudra community. This sannyasi, who is certainly very effulgent, the Brahmanas reflected, is not only touching Sri Ramananda Rai, but he is binding him up in his tight embrace. How can this be? Sri Ramananda Rai had indeed described himself as a Sudra when he offered obeisances. In the district of Vidyanagar, he was the royal representative of King Prataparudra and had experienced all the enjoyment befitting a ruler. Due to performing service to a king, his nature and activities should have been inclined towards irreligion. His dress and ornaments were that of a servant of the king. Therefore, it was not proper for a sannyasi to touch him at all. So Mahaprabhu himself demonstrates in his refusal to give darshan to Prataparudra later on for a long period of time. He doesn't give him his darshan because someone, even if they're a great devotee, but if they're contaminated in the atmosphere of being like a lord or a king, then this is most contaminating for a sannyasi who is serious about his path out of this material world. Any contact with someone of that nature, Mahaprabhu himself describes as like poison. So he refused to see Prataparudra for a long time. In fact, Sri Ramananda Rai's familial connection was with the Kshatriya, or administrative class of persons. Furthermore, he was a great Shudra Bhakta, a pure devotee. By declaring himself a Sudra, he manifested the mood of Trinadapi Sunichena, regarding himself lower in status than the straw in the street. Sri Ramananda Rai was a Parama Bhagavat, or a devotee of the topmost caliber, and a complete knower of Bhakti Tattva. Because the Vedic Brahmanas did not know the factual identity of Mahaprabhu, they took him for a mere sannyasi. They also considered Sri Ramananda Rai to be a supremely learned personality, naturally very grave. Why then did he become so restless, like a mad person, upon touching the sannyasi? This was the cause of the Vedic Brahmanas' astonishment. So we're like right at the scene, so to speak. These descriptions are really opening out these moods. The Vedic Brahmanas had no idea of the identities of either of these two personalities. But we are blessed by these insights by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj and Raghunath Das, of course, to give us this amazing pastime.
8.28 E mata vipragana bhave mane mana vijatiya lokadeki prabhu kaila samvarana.
Sriman Mahaprabhu is Antaryami, or the indwelling supersoul, and supreme witness in the heart of all. Knowing that the Brahmana's sentiments were opposed to pure devotion, he concealed his emotions. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada says that these Brahmanas were opposed to Sriman Mahaprabhu, whereas Sri Ramananda Roy was indeed most favorably disposed to him, and was in fact a most surrendered and intimate devotee. Despite being in close proximity to a pure devotee, these Brahmanas maintained their faith in the materialistic process of performing action with a desire for the fruits, karmakand. For precisely this reason, those Brahmanas are said to be non-devotees and opposing elements. This desire reminds us of the Yagyapatnis, when their husbands were performing yagya, and they didn't want to acknowledge the cowherd boys. What were those brahmanas performing their yagya for? They wanted to go to Swaga. They had their faith in this material planetary, this higher planetary system. They weren't transcendental at all. So these brahmanas are of the same mentality, kamakandis. It is proper for devotees to conceal loving exchanges in front of those who are not inclined to serving Bhagavan and who are fixed in following the materialistic path of karma. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he's always ready to give us the rules and regulations to give us a peaceful life for the devotees. When the devotees understand, it's not correct to demonstrate high devotional sentiments in front of people who are not devotees. It will just bring criticism onto the devotees out of their envy.
8.29 Shustahana duhe se stane te vashila tabe hasi mahaprabhu kahite lagila.
Concealing their emotions and regaining their external consciousness, they again became sober and sat down together. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then smiled. It is never possible to obstruct the joyful bliss of the devotees, and began to speak.
8.30 Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya kahila tomara gune tomara milite more karila yatane.
O Rai, before I came here, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya greatly extolled your good qualities and insisted on my meeting you.
8.31 Toma mili bhare mora yeta agamana bhala haila anayase pailun darshana.
Indeed, I have come here only to meet you. It is very good that with great ease I have gotten your audience.
8.32 Raya kahe sarvabhauma kare bhritya jnana paroksheha morahite haya savadhana.
Sri Raya Ramananda replied, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya directly accepts me as his servant and indirectly always acts for my welfare.
8.33 Tara kripaya painu tomara darshana aji safala haila mora manushya janama.
Only by his mercy I have received darshan of your lotus feet today. By virtue of this, I now consider that my human birth has become successful. So we understand Ramananda Rai would have appreciated that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a complete impersonalist. He was a Mayavad, and yet still he's speaking very respectfully about him. This is his great character, that the Mahabhagavats, they don't condemn anybody. They don't have any feelings of animosity towards anybody. So human birth is extremely rare. Only by the special mercy of Bhagavan can one attain a human form of life. It is impossible to perform bhajan, devotional service to Bhagavan, in any other species. It is not even possible as a demigod. So sometimes the devotees become confused a little. They think that the devas, because of their immense power and potency in their controlling abilities of this material atmosphere, can actually offer them some shelter or some security. And they take shelter of these different higher realmed personalities. But they cannot, none of them can give bhakti. The demigod planets are described as Bhoga Yoni, the species of enjoyment. Bhoga. Bhoga means enjoyment. It's not offered. Bhoga. Bhoga Yoni. Yoni means species. The persons, the conditioned souls here in this earthly realm are called karma yonis. We are fulfilling our karma and we're creating our karma. And those in the lower realms are called papa yoni. Yoni means species again, so they are the sinful species. So you cannot, with the Bhoga Yoni, get bhakti by any amount of worship. The human body is itself the very root of bhajan. This is very encouraging for the conditioned souls in Kali Yuga to hear this. Only by this human body is it possible to hear topics of Lord Hari in the association of saintly persons, sadhu sangha. Take shelter at the feet of a bona fide spiritual master. Perform the limbs of devotional service. Become free from unwanted habits and develop through the stages of nishta, constant engagement, ruchi, taste, asakti, attachment, etc. Srimad Bhagavatam states,
Okay. Hrideham adyam sulabam sudurlabam plavam sukalpam guru karnadharam mayanukulena nabhasva terisatam puman bhavabdim nataret sa atmaha.
it is said that the human form of life is the basis of all auspiciousness. It is a good boat by which one can cross the ocean of birth and death. So we have to be reminded repeatedly of this. Sometimes in the darkness of this age, the devotees can become despondent. They become disturbed, or they've given serious attention to the demons' tricks and games, etc., and to the various conditions, difficult material conditions that have been created, and they start to lose hope. My Gurudev used to say all the time, don't be hopeless. Don't be hopeless. He understood the darkness of this age can make like this. But when we appreciate sentiments like this, like we're describing, that this human birth is like a boat and can carry us across this ocean of birth and death. No other birth can. Not in the lower regions or in the higher regions. Only in this human life can we attain this highest wealth through the mercy of Mahaprabhu. In the human form of life, one may obtain the guidance of a good navigator, the spiritual master. One also gets the assistance of a favorable wind, the instructions and the mercy of Krishna as given in the scriptures. If, however, one does not take advantage of this opportunity and waste the human form of life, then he is a killer of his own self, his own pure self, his jivatma. He's killing his jivatma. So the devotee feels great sympathy for those who are not engaging in devotional service, that they all are like killers of themselves, drinking this intoxicating material glitter, illusory happiness they think they're experiencing. The devotee feels the tragedy in their lives at their inability to actually take advantage of this human birth. Okay.
Yes, according.
Oh, didn't I finish it? No. Sorry. It is according to this reasoning that Sri Ramananda Roy now considered his human form of life successful, having obtained the darshan of the lotus feet of Sriman Mahaprabhu. We can attain the darshan of Mahaprabhu simply by regularly chanting Hare Krishna in a serious mood and taking profound shelter of Guru. Without Guru, nothing can transpire. So if we take deep shelter today and every day of Sri Guru, then that security in this darkness will manifest in the heart of the devotee.
8.34 Sarvabhaume Tomara Kripa Tar Echiha Asprishya Sparshilehan Tara Premadina.
Sri Ramananda Roy continued, I can see that you have bestowed great mercy upon Sri Sarvabhauma. The proof of this is that being controlled by his love, you have touched me, although I am an untouchable. I think this really shows up the character of Ramananda Roy, his humility, his profound humility. Without this humility, prem can never be attained. As the prem increases, natural humility will increase. In contrast to the conditioned soul, his pride will increase, or his envy will increase his pride. But the devotee's devotion will increase his humility, for his prem will be increased. So these two are synonymous. This prem and humility we discussed before. Okay.
8.35 कहा तुमी साक्षात ईश्वर नारायण कहा मुई राजसेवक विषयी शूद्र धामा.
Who are you? You are the supreme controller Narayan himself. And who am I? I am a materialistic enjoying royal opulences, a most fallen Sudra, engaged in enjoying the objects of the senses.
8.36 Mora sparshe na karile griha veda bhaya Mora darshana toma vede nishedaya.
The Vedic injunctions have forbidden you to even look at me. However, you have not considered these prohibitions, and you do not feel contemptuous by my touch. Indeed, it is forbidden for sannyasis like you to even see persons such as myself. Srila Prabhupada Siddhanta Thakur says that in this verse, Srila Ramananda Rai sees himself as a most fallen, materialistic Shudra. It is true that he did not take birth in a family of Brahmanas. Rather, he was a transcendental Brahmana initiated according to the Aikanaya branch of the Vedic tree. So I should read the footnote here just to illuminate us. Ekayana means one path, eka, or exclusive devotion. On December the 30th, 1928, the great scholar Paramanat Tarak Abushan came to the Gaudiya Math and heard an extensive explanation of the Daivi Varnashram system from Srila Saraswati Thakur. In January 1929, Srila Saraswati Thakur established the Ekayan Gaudiya Math in Krishnanagar. At the opening ceremony, he gave a lecture with an original explanation on the single path of exclusive devotion, Ekayana, showing that it is the trunk of the Vedic tree and the various other paths, Bahuvyana, and its branches, taken from associates of Sri Chaitanya. And this is from the volume 2 of Sripad Bhakti Ballabh Tirtha Maharaj. So we're most fortunate to hear all these different personalities amongst the writings of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is inspired, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is inspired, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is inspired. All of these persons are reading carefully these literatures and giving us some jeweled insights and visions. So tomorrow we'll continue with reading through these first verses, and we'll reach the more specific questions and answers shortly. We'll have perhaps one more day reading through there, and then we'll come to the chapter on Varnashram itself, Varnashram Dharma. So, Raya Ramananda Samvada ki jai. So it's very wonderful how we're having a gradual approach here. We're not rushing into it. We're taking a meditative. We've discussed the whole of Krishnadas Kaviraj's Mangalacharya. And now my Gurudev is going carefully through each verse. And it's very, very revealing. It's creating a wonderful atmosphere of the scene and the pastime where we're sitting with Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. We'll be sitting with them, hearing their discussion, hearing their debate. So this is giving us an atmosphere. So very wonderful. Ramananda Rai ki jai. Sri Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, oh Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Vanshakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhuvevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha.